Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I am your host, Chris Duffy, and this is Wrong Answers Only. This show is produced by LabX, a public engagement program at the National Academy of Sciences. And for those of you who have never been to our show before, the National Academy of Sciences is a private, nonprofit institution that gives the government objective, evidence-based advice. LabX is the team at the National Academy that takes that fancy science and makes it fun. So they create video games, shows, board games, and video series to make it digestible. And on today's show, you and our panel of comedians are going to learn all about the science of animal poop. You are going to have a wild ride, and we're going to find out what our guest scientist is like when she's doing her research, as well as what she's like outside of the lab. And before we get started, I want to point out this is an interactive show. So we want to hear your jokes. We want to hear your comments. We want to hear your questions. We want you to play these games right along with us. Comment as you're watching, and we'll do our best to get to as many of those questions and comments as we can, and play along with us. There will be polls, and they should all pop up right below here. If you're having trouble finding that, try maybe exiting full screen. Sometimes that helps. But even if you can't find it, don't worry. You're going to have fun no matter what. Okay, let's get into it. Today, we have an incredible panel of comedians who are going to be playing. We've got Chrissy Shackelford, Naomi Ekperigan, and Zach Oyama. Hello, hello, hello. Hi.
Hello.
Thank you so much, all of you, for being here. And let's find out who today's expert is. Now, I could tell you about her, but rather than having me talk about her, let's have her tell you about herself. Here's a video.
So it's basically looking at the ways that hormones interact under certain conditions. And so basically I and my partner Candice, we run the zoo's hormone lab. And so we use, right now we're only using feces and blood, but using poop and blood, we are able to extrapolate all sorts of different hormonal information and then relate that to things that the keepers tell us and things that the managers tell us to try and tell a whole story that we may not be able to get by just staring at an animal. And so my job is to try and interpret their little nuances and their behaviors, and try and make that be put into something that we can use as managers to try and get into their psyche and figure out exactly what's going on with them. Hi, I'm Dr. Laurel Fink, and I work at the Oregon Zoo as the Animal Welfare Monitoring Specialist.
Laurel, thank you so much for being on the show and letting us talk to you about your work.
No worries. I'm glad to be here.
So panelists, you're going to get a chance to talk to Laurel a lot over the course of this show, but this is your first chance to ask an expert in animal poop some questions. We call this, you do what? Okay, so what is the first question that you want to ask our animal poop expert, Dr. Laurel Fink? Naomi, what's the first question on the top of your mind?
Okay, my head's, I'm buzzing. Okay, there's truly so many, so it is really hard for me. First question. Stinkiest of all the poops.
Great question.
Okay, so it's tie.
Okay.
And it would be between our cheetah and any sea ottery, seal, anything like that. It is, one of them is it's just gross because they're carnivores, so it's just nasty. And the other one is like if someone hit you in the face with the ocean, but like from 5 days ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
That notion.
It's gnarly.
Zach, you are someone from the audience has already commented, you do what? And we are off to the races.
That's really good.
Yep. You do what?
Wow.
That should have been the title card. That is on me. That's a big mistake and a real missed opportunity. Okay. Zach, what's your first question for Laurel?
Well, I don't know if it's a good question, but I think it just was the first thing that popped in there. Do you got a favorite?
So not cheetah and not otter or seal.
Yeah.
But I mean, rhino.
What's the easiest to work with? Yeah.
Two different questions, because rhino.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Smells the best, is the most pleasant stank, because it kind of just smells like dried grass. So I'm like, this isn't too bad.
Okay.
But easiest to work with is gonna be like your rodents, because they're small and they're like nondescript. They don't really have anything special going on with them. There's just so many of them.
Zach, you asked the question that is on a lot of audience members' minds as well. Favorite food is really coming in hot. Also, someone is asking a question which, I have to just get into because I think everyone needs to know this, which is someone is asking a kind of judgmental question, which is what made you want to go into this career?
So I didn't know it was going to be poop when I first got into it. So I really wanted to work with animals. I've been working with them my entire life. I started off as a zoo teen, but I didn't necessarily want to be a keeper because I really wanted to go the research route. And I actually have my master's in conservation biology. And so I was trying to find a way to do more hands-on work with animals, but still do conservation-y work. And you can do a lot of what I do in the conservation field, and you can like relate what we learn in a zoo to animals in the wild. And so I was able to get it through. And then they were like, you can either work with poop, blood, or urine, and poop is the most plentiful and the easiest to gather. So that's what most of it is.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on, I'm so sorry because there are a couple things that caught me. I know this is Chris Duffy is hosting, but did you say
Please,
you were a
me,
zoo
please.
teen?
Yeah.
Was that a phrase? You said it like it was a regular phrase. So you have to explain what a zoo teen is.
Yeah, so I think a lot of zoos have them, or they had them pre-COVID, and I don't really know what's going on after that. But starting from like age 10 and upwards, or 13 and upwards, it changes. You can like go and help be a zookeeper for a day or do animal presentations. So I grew up in Phoenix, and so I was a zoo teen at the Phoenix Zoo from like 12 through, I want to say like 16, something like that. And I would just basically stand around and they would train you on how to handle animals. And so I was holding snakes and geckos and cockroaches and stuff, just like out with the public and trying to help the public interact with the animal and learn about what we were doing. So that was actually really fun. And then from there, you kind of just get sucked into the zoo life.
Now, you said, Naomi asked about zoo teen, and you did throw zoo teen out again. I do want to know, is that an official term or is that like theater kid? Like, is it a type of teen or is that like the zoo came up with that?
I think it's kind of like Kleenex. So it's an official term that's like become a thing.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Is it meant to be some sort of pun? Because I'm really racking my brain.
Yeah, same. It does not.
I genuinely don't know, but it's everywhere I've gone, it's all one word, if that helps. It's like capital Z, capital T, but it's all one word.
It sounds quite similar to a strong drug that I was prescribed for acne when I was a teen, Accutane. It's like Zutane and Accutane are very strong overlap.
That's different.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. And Naomi, please, anytime something catches you, we need to dig into it. Now, Chrissy, we're not going to count that as your first question to Laurel. So what's your first question that you'd like to ask Laurel?
If there's no good answer, I have a backup question to my first question, which is like, first question I'm interested in is like, you ever found anything weird in there?
Great question.
Wow.
So yes and no, like nothing like too crazy where you're just like, I don't even know what this is. But a lot of times with carnivores, they eat things whole. And so you'll get like skeletons that come out the other end sometimes. So you can get like a skull of something else.
What?
And yeah, so there's all sorts of other stuff.
Intact? When you say a skull, we're talking just head, intact teeth.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
how I want to be buried.
Nothing weird, just a skeleton, maybe a skull.
But it makes sense. Like they ate the animal. It's got to come out somewhere.
I'm imagining like in a cartoon when like the fish goes in and then it comes out like clean.
Comes out.
But it's just that it's not coming out this way.
The other end.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like I keep saying these things because in my world it is normal, but like with owl pellets and stuff, that's like a normal thing for someone who's been a zoo teen to have dug through at some point. And you find like, although that does come back out the top, but you find like whole skeletons and stuff like that. But
are zoo teens paid to go through feces, or is this just for college credit?
It's a really good resume booster.
It is.
No.
I mean, no, I would have loved this job when I was a kid because I wanted to work with animals, but I don't know if they let us do that at the Bronx Zoo. In the Bronx, they said keep the kids away, but maybe in Phoenix they'll let you come.
Actually.
I'm picturing like a very fun coming of age, like lifeguard kind of scene of just zoo teens.
Yeah,
and there's just me with my like maroon staff shirt in the corner, just like digging through poop.
Well, Laura, we're getting some more great questions from the audience. So let me ask you this one. Dung, feces, poop. Are there subtle differences with those terms?
No, not that I know of. I mean, there might be, but in my line of work, it's all the same. I hardly ever say dung, mainly because I forget that it's a word. But like, I'll use feces when it comes to me and talking to the professionals. Anytime I'm writing a paper, I have to use feces or fecals. But then I have a big kind of complex about the fact that we have these really fancy words for things like poop. And it's just, everyone knows what poop is. Like, there's no beating around the bush. It's what I work with. I don't like feces is just pretentious.
Well, I also want to say, in a way that is new for this show, we've been doing this show for quite a while, and this is a first. Many people are not writing in questions or comments, but just their own kind of one-liner or like classic jokes people are writing in. That may be your particular group of friends and colleagues who are here who are throwing stuff out there, but I will just share another one, which is a dung beetle walked into a bar and said, "Is this stool taken?" Hey-yo, okay, moving right along.
Wow. That's good.
Okay.
So, Laurel, please, Chrissy.
It was a very dumb joke. It was the answer joke with.
She said, "Was it? Was the stool taken?"
Was the stool
Chrissy
taken?
wants the information. Is actually what she
It
wants.
was someone who's never heard a joke before.
Okay. Yes.
What's the answer?
Yeah. Laurel, what is the answer? Can you tell us? Was that stool taken?
Depends on if there was another dung beetle around, I guess.
There you go. Classic riddle. Okay. Well, Laurel, as we've already addressed, and we're going to continue addressing for literally the whole night, you do a lot of science that involves poop. And if there's one thing that everyone knows about poop, it is that everybody does it. So you have a lot of expertise here. You've seen all kinds of poop that the rest of us may never come across in a lifetime. And so in this first game, panelists, we've already talked about some of the smells of poop, but let's talk about some of the sights. I'm going to show you a photo of poop. And now this is a photo of poop that Laurel sent directly to me in my email, straight to my Gmail inbox. And you are going to guess which animal made that duty. This is Everybody Poops. Okay, so panelists, I show you a photo. You can guess. Each of you can guess. All of you can guess. If you don't have a guess, that's fine. Which animal made this poop? Let's look at the first photo. Who do you think made that poop? Which animal you think made that poop?
Okay, so obviously grassy vibes. Okay, I would say my dog after eating grass, but no,
Okay.
it's not her. It's not her. Laurel doesn't have that footage.
Could be your dog, Mabel. That's one possibility on the table.
I also have a dog.
Well, it may be. Okay, then.
So animals that eat grass,
Twigs and the like.
twigs and the like.
Is that can we ask if it's a piece of, like, is it the whole?
Oh, great. Yes.
Movement.
Good question, Zach. Good question, Zach.
It is a nugget of a much larger entity.
Okay.
Okay.
And is that on
Wow.
a fast food napkin? I see, just for scale.
It's on one of those like children's school like paper towel pull things.
Yes.
All right. Let's find out. Naomi, what do you think? What kind of poop? Make a guess.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna make a guess. I'm gonna say, we were talking about them already. I'm gonna say like a sea otter situation.
Okay. Zach, what do you think?
Ooh. I'm gonna go goat. I don't know.
And Chrissy, what do you think?
That's a good guess. I'm gonna go horse.
Okay, let's look at a photo of the animal that made this poop. It was a rhino. That's a
Aw,
rhino nugget right there. And you know what? Laurel already told us that's a good smelling poop right there. That's a great smelling poop.
That's
that you
your
just did.
favorite.
It's a better smelling poop. Not great, better.
Better. Okay. Next photo. Let's see. Well, who do you think made this poop?
Oh no.
That's disgusting, Chris.
That's like not good, actually. That's not good. That's rude. That's upsetting.
Take it off from me.
That you don't, that's tar like.
Thank you.
That's tar like something's not going well. I'm
Not
gonna
Lydia
say
tar, bad tar. Well,
exactly.
bad tar.
Well,
Bad tar,
we're
but-
move over, Lydia Tar. Okay, because I'm gonna say here. This seems bird-like to me. I'm saying pelican brief. I don't know.
Pelican brief. You think it's a poop made by a movie, not even an animal.
A pelican that does law.
Okay.
Wow.
All right. Zach, what would you like to say?
I'm thinking like a saber-toothed tiger that got trapped in tar.
Saber-toothed tiger trapped in tar. And Chrissy, what do you think?
I mean, this is bad. I think it's an animal with a sickness. So I think it's like an infected gopher.
An infected gopher. Now, okay, let's find out what animal made this poop. It's a cheetah. That's a cheetah poop right there. Oh boy.
Okay.
That cheetah.
And wait, is that a healthy cheetah poop, Laurel?
Laurel?
Yes. Yeah. So that's actually in the world of the poop life, we would consider that a good sample because I mean, I am going to go into it because I can, but like there's not a lot of extra fat in there. There's not a lot of other stuff we have to pick through because we're literally just looking for the poop matter as opposed to like the other stuff when we weigh things out. So that to us that's a winner. That's a
And you said this is one of the worst smelling poops that you've ever smelled. A cheetah poop.
They're vile.
Yeah, I believe it. I believe it now that I've seen it.
Yeah, it does not look like the kind of poop you'd want to smell.
Yeah.
How
For
do you
sure.
protect yourself from this smell? Are you wearing masks? Do you have a
We just kind of like raw dog it and
No.
Oh my
No
God.
Vicks, no Vicks under your nose.
we have a really good air purifier. But
And do you put it right here?
yeah, right. No, it's massive, but it lives under and over, and so you just kind of suck it up and deal with it. We only have them; they come in little plastic bags, and so we only have them out of the bag for like this photo. It came out of the photo, and that's about it. We'll like open it up and like scoop out what we need, and then close it back up pretty quick.
Now, when you say it comes in plastic bags, that's not how it comes out of the cheetah. So who gets it into the plastic bag?
So the
Zoo
care
team.
staff at the Oregon
Zoo
Zoo,
teams.
that's yeah, well, kind of.
The fastest zoo team.
We don't have Zooteens here. We have Zap. And I'm actually not entirely sure how involved they are in cleaning. But it's the keeper staff will take it. They have to label it as well. Like who pooped this? What time did they collect it? What day is it? And then they put them in a freezer. So that also helps with the smell. So we get them frozen. We have to measure stuff when it's thawed, but for the majority of the time it's frozen and it's not as bad.
And how do you
But
thaw
when
that?
our
You put it
freezers
in
break down, it's a problem.
You put it in a microwave, or you just let it sit out on the counter? How do you thaw a cheetah poop?
Just let it sit for like an hour. Yeah. Okay. We have a lab bench that we just sort of line poops up by date and just let it go.
The Lord's work. Okay? Laurel is a frontline worker. Running a poop
all through
line.
COVID, so
If I
I
had a
worked all
pot.
through COVID.
Yeah. Now, I do want to say one audience member, after seeing this cheetah poop, said this, which I think we all need to know. I'm just going to read you this quote without embellishment. I was babysitting once, and the kid told me I have to do a number 5. She thought that the numbers kept going based on how bad it was.
I mean, there is a scale. There is a poop scale. Nurses know it. Teachers probably know it. But yeah,
is it like 0 good or 0 bad? Like what's the numbers that we're working
I think
with?
if I remember correctly, because we use a different one for us stuff, but like I think 3 is normal. 1 is like rabbit poop, hella constipated, and 5 is like disgusting.
Oh, okay. And now someone also asked, do animals get constipated in the wild or in zoos?
Yes. Yeah, to both of them. So I'm not entirely sure what they do in the wild besides just sit around and be uncomfortable until it's time. But like in zoos, there's meds, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. I'm sure that there are natural remedies out there for animals in the wild. They can like chew on certain bark or something like that. That'll kind of help flush the whole system.
Incredible. Well, we have spent a lot of time on this cheetah poop, so let's move on to our next poop. Who do you think made this poop?
Oh.
Zach truly found this poop adorable.
Anything after the cheetah poop is kind of cute.
Okay.
Okay, this feels aquatic.
Grizzly, what makes this poop feel aquatic to you?
It just feels like sort of compact and contained, which I imagine if it's coming from the water. It is greenish, so that probably is more land animal. But it's fitting quite nicely on, it looks like half of that little paper towel. So maybe something small, maybe it's a bird.
Okay. You want to venture a guess, Chrissy? I will say that Zach thinking this is a cute poop, that is a hint that it's a cute poop.
Oh, okay. Then penguin.
Penguin. Okay, Zach, what do you think?
I'm gonna say, I want to say avocado, but I know that's wrong, so I'm gonna say koala.
Okay.
Oh, that's cute. And I'm going to say rabbit.
Okay. And let's see the animal that made this poop. It's a red panda.
Oh,
That's one cute little pooper right there.
That's a cute. It looks like it is pooping in the picture.
It does actually look like it's pooping in the picture.
He is so cute. So whenever we get his poops, we're like, we kind of just picture his face.
Do you know him personally?
This is Moshu. Yeah.
Moshu.
This is literally the animal that made that poop.
That was literally his poop.
Wow.
Not just, this is not some Google image search. This is that little guy's poop.
Yeah, no, I took that on my phone.
What is that thing eating?
Well, that's his tongue.
That's
so
his
he can't
tongue.
eat anything.
No, I mean at all. Not right now.
So he eats, they get like a chow. So it's kind of like the species specific food. And then he gets fruits and veggies and these little biscuit things. And then a lot of browse, so a lot of bamboo.
Okay. Let's go to the next one. Which animal made these poops? 2 poops, 1 animal. Very different looking poops, I gotta say. And yet,
Why
one
are
Two
they
poops.
takeout containers?
I know. They're like in little muffin tins.
Yes.
He's in muffin
This is like-
tins.
You're writing your Postmates angrily, like I didn't get all my stuff, and some of this is wrong.
Yeah, if you're in Oregon and you get a Postmates delivery and it looks like that, it came from the zoo.
I'm saying alligator. I don't know why. That's just what I feel.
Okay. Zach, what do you think?
Gosh, yeah, like I'm gonna go back to goat.
Goat. Okay. The man goes back to goat. I do feel like goat poop is one of the few poops that you could have actually seen. And it's interesting.
Yeah,
that,
haven't.
okay. Obviously, it's clear to me that you have not actually seen goat poop. Chrissy, what do you think?
I'm gonna go giraffe.
Okay.
I feel like they're unique and they could each giraffe is unique as their spots are, and they could sort of create different types of poops.
Okay. Let's find out which animal made these poops. That's right. It is an otter. That's an otter. Another one of the worst smelling poops around.
These ones
slapped in
aren't
the
quite
face
as
with
bad.
an ocean.
Yeah. These ones they're not sea otters. So they're not quite as horrible. They're not good by any means, but like they're not the true horrifyingness that is the sea otter.
Now, those do look very different. Why did those 2 poops look so different?
So if we have more than one animal in an enclosure in a habitat, we have to figure out a way to mark the poops so that we know whose is whose. So certain animals get fed, we call them fecal markers, and it's basically just a piece of food that has a ton of food dye in it, like edible food dye, and then they eat it and it dyes your poop different colors. So when they poop it out, we can go, oh, the red one belongs to Tilly and the non-red one belongs to someone else. So,
Well, I hope they're not red, Laurel. That would cause quite a stir.
Wow.
Everyone would be
Actually-
terrified.
that was actually an issue. So I did a study on the red-ruffed lemurs that we have, and they like to poop while standing on a really big like wall. And so it's gross, but we would dye them red to try and figure out whose was whose. And then we had too many people saying that there was something wrong with the lemurs. So we had to actually stop dyeing their poop. But most other ones, the colors that we see most often are red, green, blue, white, no color. And then you can also feed certain animals things like corn because it just passes right through you and comes right out the other end. And birdseed, and then some other zoos use glitter, and that I've yet to see, but I am hoping one day we will get a glittery poop because I think that would just be entertaining.
Once you have glitter poop, you're getting glitter poop everywhere. It's
Yeah. Take it home with you.
You
all
can't.
over.
And dare to dream, really. Okay, last one in this game. Let's look at this last poop. Tree poops, triple poop. 3 poops in a row. Who made these poops?
Trio.
Got so excited I couldn't say the word 3 and said tree.
Well, now that I know dyeing is part of it, right? They could be a different color. Now I'm like, okay, well, maybe that's not a clue anymore. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because now it could be a dye job. tiny ones. I'm gonna say rabbit again.
Okay, rabbit again. Zach.
Gosh, something. It looks like it reminds me of like cookies. I don't know why. And I don't know if that is a hint at all, but it's okay.
If it's not a hint, eat cookies at your house. That's
okay,
for sure.
I'm gonna go goat again.
Go goat. This is a man who has never seen goat poop. A very distinctive type of poop. And Chrissy, what do you think?
Okay, it looks like, I guess, sort of similar to shape-wise to dog poop. So I'm going to go with like fox, like kind of in a similar.
Okay. And let's see the animal that this poop came from. That's right, this weird-looking monkey, red-tailed monkey.
Okay, none of us were going to guess red-tailed monkey. Okay, I only know like 7 animals, okay?
I would have accepted monkey. I would have accepted any kind of monkey, for sure. Now, Laurel, before we go further, I do want to say not a single one of these comedians has guessed correctly any of the times in this game. So instead of giving them points based on correctness, who do you think was like most in the ballpark? Who would you say that? And who do you think was least in the ballpark? Both of them.
Well, least is kind of easy. Sorry, Zach, but you really should have seen a goat.
I can take that feedback. I can figure something out. Yeah.
So in the game show, wrong answers only. Zach has incorrectly guessed wrong, very, very correctly guessed wrong by saying goat for everything, despite me even queuing him up that it couldn't possibly be goat poop. Okay, and who do you think was closest then?
I never learned something.
I think Naomi was closest for most of them.
Oh.
I liked the logic that was behind a lot of it.
Thank you for calling it logic. Thank you.
Now, just a couple of rapid fire questions for you from the audience. Which animal makes the biggest poop? And let's not say in the world that you've seen. Which animal that you work with makes the biggest poop?
It kind of depends on the day. Consistently elephant, Asian elephant. I mean, it's just a pile. And the annoying thing is that we only need 0.5 grams of a sample to run our data. And so like we had to reiterate to keepers that like, I don't need the whole thing. I just need like a tiny piece of it.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you reiterated to the elephants.
Just squeeze it.
Stop making so much poop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think one of our keepers today was mentioning how a polar bear took a ginormous poop. So, I mean, it's all over the place depending on the day.
So they come to you and they say, listen, I don't know if this is of interest to you, but our polar bear, he is taking a dump to remember.
Sometimes it shows up. So when I look at my data, I have all of these numbers and I have to relate them to behaviors and stuff that the keepers talk about in their daily reports. And so there are times when literally it'll be like, so-and-so had diarrhea for like 5 days in a row. So I do get the, like the poop commentary. And, yeah.
Great. A lot of people in the chat are throwing out band names, Infected Gopher, and people are also saying that they would like to see Glitter Poop be a big band that covers 70s songs. I like that. Okay, another last question from the audience before we move on. Is there much variability in the species in the frequency of pooping? Like some people take a poop once a week and others poop multiple times a day, that kind of stuff?
So in the wild, I'm sure there's more frequency, but in the zoo, since they all kind of get the same diet and it's very regulated, they eat better than any one of us will ever eat. It's pretty consistent, and it's also nice to remain consistent because then if something is different, we know that we either need to like take a look at them. The vet staff has to go down there and like double check to make sure everything's okay. Or it means that like something's off on their food. Like because it's so regulated and so provided for, it's much more consistent than you would expect.
All right. Well, the last piece of media that I want to show you right now, panelists, is Laurel sent us this Snapchat video, and I think it's really important that we show this.
You're on a watch list, Chris. You're on a watch list, okay? Because whatever y'all have been going back and forth with is not savory.
Absolutely. Savory is the last thing that I would say any of this has been. I will say that
more.
Exactly. Give me more. Now, what I'm going to tell you though is that this video has not been edited, and I did not put the caption on this. This caption was sent to me by Laurel. It was already on there. So let's just play this video without any more disclaimer on it. Okay.
zoned out for a second. Did you say Laurel did send you this or no?
Laurel sent me that. And she put the yes. Yes with a YISS. And then it was a cheetah making that foul, horrendous poop that we were all offended by.
Wow. I guess it's time for me to re-download Snapchat again.
Oh, mine are entertaining.
And is that whenever you like see an animal pooping, you think fresh data?
I mean, not gonna lie, yeah. It's also like so Candace, who also is in the poop lab with me, her little profile picture is a gazelle taking a poop. And so there are times when we went to Africa together in 2019, and I think half of our photos were like cool African animals taking a dump. So it spreads into the rest of your life.
You can't let white people go to Africa. They gotta stop. You know the locals were like, who are they? Why is it happening?
Just wait. Don't do it right now. Don't take the photo right now.
Exactly what I would have expected. Yeah.
Also,
okay,
just
now,
the phrase "the poop lab" sounds like a third grader writing a story.
It's like,
who works at the poop lab?
okay. Now, speaking of the lab, what actual information are you getting? Like, what is the data that you're getting out of this poop?
Yeah, so we're actually getting a ton of different information. So at the moment, we're measuring stress hormones, so corticosterone and cortisol. So we can figure out how animals react to different situations or social changes or anything like that. If they're sick, sometimes you see a spike in stress hormones. And then we're also monitoring progesterone, so we can do pregnancy tests. And then we can also figure out if there are animals that have breeding recommendations. We can tell the care staff when is the best time to bring the male and female together, like what is most likely to kind of like get it going. And then we also monitor testosterone, and then that you can use both for breeding and also for social things. So if animals have really high testosterone, they can sometimes trigger some behavioral changes. So like that antsiness that you see sometimes can be as a result of high testosterone, but it can also help tell us who is considered like alpha in various scenarios.
Now, what's the biggest poop related mystery that you wish you could answer?
Ooh, just that there is information in poop. Like most people think that it's just something to discard, and like yours, yes, we don't want to see human poop. It's gross. I don't want to see it. I don't like working with our
Don't speak so soon, because the next segment is just us showing you photos of all of our poop.
We turn the tables.
And the jokes that at the dinner table are like very much like, you can measure this. But yeah, so just the fact that there is a lot of what we can learn from things that are left behind, that is a massive takeaway. And it's really important to know that when you're learning about animals, especially in the wild, most of the time you're not actually watching them. And so a lot of what you're learning is based off of the clues, quote unquote, that they leave behind. So it's really useful. So if you see it out on a trail, I mean, there's stuff you can look at with just your eyes. You can probably figure out what they eat just by staring at a piece of poop. So stuff like that is just, it's not as gross as you think. I don't recommend going through wild animal poop that you find on the sidewalk, but like in our lab, we use it for really fun stuff.
Okay, is anybody else imagining Laurel and Candace in that scene from Jurassic Park where Laura Dern goes to the mountain, the pile of poop, and it's like, yeah, with the tall gloves, and she's like in there, and it's like, I feel like that's what y'all would do. Like that's
we do wear gloves, thank God. But yeah.
Yeah. Now someone's asking, do you look at microbiomes of animals using their poop?
So we don't, but the lab, when I graduated from Portland State, there were some people that were looking at gut microbiomes. They were looking at it in the gut itself, but you can look at it through poop. We tend to not. That's something that the vets look at more than we do. So we're kind of separate from the vets. We help the vets out and then they help us out too, but we're not making like diagnoses or anything like that based on what we learn. But any of the gut microbiome stuff that you would see is mainly done by the vet staff.
Now, Laurel, there's obviously a lot that's very funny about studying poop, but something that you said in our pre-interview when we talked before the show has really stuck with me, which is you said that animals are always trying to hide how they are feeling from the world. That, like, for survival, they don't want other creatures to understand how they're feeling. And can you tell us a little bit more about that as just an idea and how that ties into this work?
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, it totally makes sense. If you're not feeling good and you're a prey animal, you are the first target to a predator. And so you're going to try and hide it as much as you possibly can and present as normal or as healthy as you possibly can so that you're not singled out and eaten immediately. And then same thing, if you're a predator, you don't feel well, you're going to be targeted by other predators and you're probably going to end up losing either your life or your mate or your home range and stuff. So there's all sorts of different reasons why animals will internalize how they're feeling. And when it comes to things like what we can see in poop, so like the stress hormones, those would react if you're not feeling great or if you're hurt. Those do tend to react pretty strongly. So we're able to figure out if an animal is behaving quote unquote off for any sort of real reason. So if we're seeing some pretty strong reactions in the hormonal data, then we can relate that back to the keepers and to the vet staff and to all the managers. And then they're able to go and take a deeper look into what might have caused that sort of spike that we saw.
And we've been calling you a poop scientist because you do science with poop, but your actual title is an animal welfare monitoring specialist. So what you're trying to do is to figure out what's actually going on with these animals to make sure that they're healthy and safe and happy. And now, since you are looking at animal behavior and you are interested in that, in this next game, we are going to flip it around and put you in the hot seat. We are not going to show you photos of our poop and then have you guess which of us did it. Although if I had thought of that game beforehand, I actually would have made you do it, but it's too late now.
God.
So, and probably we would have had to pay the comedians infinitely more money to get that kind of photo. But in this next game, you're going to be in the hot seat, and each of our panelists this month is not only a hilarious comedian, but they're also a talented world-class actor, expert at creating a whole internal world for their characters. So we're going to ask each of them to embody an animal, and then that animal is going to be feeling a particular way or experiencing something very specific, and they're going to act that out. And then we're going to ask you, Laurel, to guess what that animal's behavior meant. And then our panelist is going to tell you whether you were correct or not. This is Party Animals. Okay, so Chrissy, you're up first. Which animal would you like to embody for us today? Which animal will you be embodying?
You want me to tell you which animal I'll be embodying?
Yes, because then we're going to guess what your animal is feeling, but not which animal it is.
Got it. Bird.
Okay, just bird. General bird.
General bird. I don't know the difference between different birds except for color. So if you want me to be a blue bird or a red bird,
pick your color. Actually, yes, pick what color you are.
Yourself.
Okay, use your imagination, Laurel. Chrissy is a colored bird, and now, Chrissy, you are going pay close attention, Laurel, to what Chrissy does, and then you're going to tell us your expert analysis of what the behavior of Chrissy's bird means. What does it mean about the bird?
Sounds
okay,
good.
Chrissy, whenever you're ready, embody bird. Oh, wow.
No.
And I will say scene.
Okay, yes, truly a full one-act play.
Wow.
Now, Laurel, what do you think that bird just experienced?
Okay, so based on the fact that your bird character was talking a lot on a phone and obviously was being pestered by all different directions, I'm going to say you are a social bird. So you are in a big flock of other birds that are always trying to come at your attention, and you are sick of it. So I'm going to say you are a brooding, so a nesting female bird that is just sick of everyone and wants to leave it alone.
Wow.
Okay. Chrissy, what do you think? How close was Laurel?
I mean, what a beautiful examination of performance. This is why art criticism is so good, because it can take things to another level. I was a social bird. I don't think I thought of it as hideous. I was a bird out with my friends. I get a phone call from my landlord.
Oh no!
It's like, we're raising your rent next month.
Oh no.
Freaking out. I'm trying to have dinner with my friends who I haven't seen in months because I'm over 30, which means I never see my
Yeah.
And that was sort of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That feels right. Now, Laurel, how does that track with your understanding of the science? Because it did feel like you tried to go with, you tried to push it into a hard scientific direction. And now that you know what Chrissy was actually embodying, how do you feel?
I feel okay with my answer because if someone were to call me and tell me that I was getting evicted from my little nest or something, I too would be annoyed, just like a brooding bird. So I
use the word nesting.
Yeah, I stand by
something about
what
the
I
home
said.
is in there.
Okay, great.
Wow.
Laurel, the fact that you were willing to meet Chrissy halfway or even further than halfway, it's a generous act, and I
the way.
will allow it. Zach, you're next. Zach,
Okay.
what animal would you like to portray for us?
I think I'm going to go with cat because it's the animal I observe the most
All right.
in my daily life.
I got to pivot.
And now,
Oh,
Laurel,
no,
you
so
do have
sorry.
a cat as well. So this is an animal you know very, very well.
Yeah. Our cat's
Um,
real weird though.
Okay.
Okay.
Zach,
Same. This is my cat, specifically Howdy, doing something, and you'll just I'll take it away, I guess.
please.
All right. Sort of just like. That's it.
Okay, Laurel, what do you think Zach's cat was experiencing?
I think that is the cat interpretive dance that goes on when you're dangling that little lure toy on top of them, or they've seen a bug.
That is an extremely good guess. That I think also could be that if I looked at the footage again. But the reality was that was what I assume my cat is doing when he's in his litter box, where you just see litter just kind of flying out of it and just arm gestures kind of, and then you look inside and nothing's covered up. That's the first thing I thought of. I hope that was clear.
Now, Laurel, how does that track with the science of cat and cat poop here?
I mean, I should have known. I relate to that emotional feeling of walking into the bathroom and seeing a lot of litter and then just the perfectly uncovered turd. Yeah, so I should have known.
Okay. Now, someone in the audience is saying, shouldn't Zach have portrayed a goat? And you know what? I also thought that was where we were headed, but I do want to say we would never limit an artist, and he is a true artist. So there you go.
But I think, to be fair, we do know we know now Zach has never seen a goat. He just knows it exists. So I don't think he would ever take on that portrayal.
6 feet tall, wings.
Extremely true. Okay, Naomi, now you were, it seems, potentially scooped here that you also wanted to portray a cat. But
yes, but I might have to pivot.
Okay,
I'm
who are
gonna
you gonna pivot to?
Okay, I pivoted to dog. Okay, another animal I observe all the time.
Great.
So I have to pivot. I'm moving backstage.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I'm using depths of space. Okay, I brought a chair over. So I'm being a dog. Don't worry, these are very long headphone cords.
Wow.
Okay, I'm coming closer. You see me? And now I'm in the chair. And then I'm like, that's it.
Okay. I'll say the second noise, I literally looked to see if that was coming from someone else. It didn't even seem like Naomi. Laurel, what do you think was happening there? What was happening with that dog?
I think there's two options in my head. The first one is that your dog really has to go outside, and he's trying very hard to tell you this, but he doesn't feel like actually getting up and going to the door. So he's just letting you know that something's brewing. And then my second option would be that he's the opposite of that. He's starving, and it's getting close to dinner time, and he knows it's not quite dinner time, but he needs to let you know that it's time for food.
Laurel, that was science, what you just did, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you, I was a dog, okay? That was a dog that had eaten an hour earlier, and you would have thought she was living on the street like Sandy from Annie. Okay? We feed this girl, and within an hour, she just, oh gosh, how could I go on?
Yeah.
Where is there more?
The run to the food bowl every time you walk past it?
She gets, she will come and like kind of pat at my leg, and then I think it's like something urgent, right? Like I'm like, oh God. And then I get up and she go to the bowl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm thinking you about to pee on the floor. I'm like, Timmy fell in a well. I'm thinking there's an emergency. And you just want more.
Yeah.
Incredible. Laurel, perfect. Naomi, perfectly portrayed. Laurel, perfect guess. Now, Laurel, the one thing we don't know is we know Naomi's dog is named Mabel. Zach, what's your cat named?
Howdy.
Howdy. And Laura, what's your cat named?
Salim.
Lean?
Salim, Selim.
Great. And Chrissy, what was your bird named?
Jaja.
Okay. Great. Okay. Well, audience members, now, there's a poll that's popping up. The award for best actor in an animal performance. Who does it go to? Select your favorite, and we are going to keep rolling right along. And Laurel, we know about your science here, but we wanted to know a little bit more about what you are like outside of the lab. And we actually had an incredible source of outsider information for this. Actually, we had an incredible source of insider information from outside your lab. And the person who brought you to our attention, the reason you were on the show is we got an email, a cold email after one of the previous episodes of the show from your dad. And so this segment, we're going to talk a little bit about him in a segment called PH Dad. Now, your dad is also a PhD. He watched an episode of our show. Then he sent us this email. Let's pull up that first email that he sent us. Okay. This is an email. You don't have to read all of it, but I want to highlight in particular the last couple lines. Now, this is what he said. In my admittedly biased opinion, she's got a sufficiently off-base sense of humor to potentially do well on your program. If this sounds of interest, feel free to reach out to her at email address redacted. If not, no problem. I haven't told her that I'm contacting you. Okay. I love, first of all, that your dad believes in you so much that he sent us a cold email. And I also love that he was trying to keep expectations low so that he said, like, listen, sufficiently offbeat and like potentially do well. Like, don't get too offbeat. And then now it's hard to not sound like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. After we told your dad that you sounded amazing and we were so excited to have you on the show, he began to send us photos. And I cannot exaggerate the amount of photos that he has sent in. It has been a never-ending stream of images that have filled up both my and every producer working on this show's inbox, and they're incredible. I'm just going to show you a small curated selection of some of the photos that your father has sent in since knowing you're going to be on the show. Let's check out the first photo. There you go. It's you holding poop. Bingo.
That was right after a PhD defense.
That's right. There you go.
Wow.
That was at your PhD defense. I love that. Okay, next one. This is you holding a bird. Your dad just said, thought you might like this one. Okay, then also here's another one. It's you holding a snake. Okay, and then here's you as a kid holding 4 birds at once. Adorable.
Oh, Zootine
right there.
Zoo child.
And then we'll just end with this one, which is classic dad joke. You in front of a no dumping sign. Please take notice. I have to say, I love that dad joke. That got me when we got the no dumping one. Now, obviously, first of all, any reactions to that, Laurel? Does that seem on brand? Does that seem?
I mean, my family are my biggest champions, so the fact that happened does not surprise me at all. At all. I think that last photo, the no dumping sign, he's probably kicking himself because literally like a minute and a half before he took that photo, my aunt's dog took a giant shit right underneath that sign.
Oh.
So his comedic timing was like so close.
Yeah. I mean, I love your dad. Literally, we talked on the phone for 10 minutes and he invited me to come stay with him in Vancouver where he's teaching at a university.
Yeah. Oh, he means it too. He means it.
It was very clear that he meant it and I was deeply touched. Now, obviously, as I said, we couldn't not get your dad on video. So we did this 10-minute Zoom call and he'd already given us so much gold. So we just asked him a couple of quick things. One of which is, did he ever have a sense when you were younger that maybe you would go into this field? And here is what he said.
I never thought while changing her diapers that, oh, this is a preview of what Laurel's career is going to be.
Now, he said he never thought that, but clearly he did think that, which is why he brought it up. Incredible stuff. Panelists, any reactions, any questions for Laurel about her family or her life outside of the lab or her dad?
Well, so, your dad, they said your dad was a PhD in anything like animal or biology or something totally different?
Volcanology, actually. So he worked on Mount St. Helens.
Wow. Okay. So you all like the danger zone is what I'm getting. I'm getting fire. I'm getting feces.
Yeah. And it's not just us. My mom has her PhD. My aunts have their PhD. My grandfather was a medical doctor. So, I mean, like we're stacked.
Okay.
Wow.
You like kind of have to get a PhD.
Yeah. Except unless you're my little brother, he is chilling, happy as a clam with his bachelor's.
Okay. That's great.
Wow.
Well, we don't talk about him.
Like that's not good enough.
The black sheep. I kid. Andy, we love you.
Yep. Now, I will say your Aunt Rachel just wrote in, Laurel is the best niece ever. So,
I'm also
she's in
her
the chat
only
right
niece,
now.
so that was real nice of her.
Oh.
Well, we're coming right to the end of the show. So I want to say, first of all, Laurel, thank you so much. We have learned so much. And it looks like, as I'm tallying up the scores, it looks like, thanks to your nomination, it looks like Naomi had the most points and Zach had the least points. So congratulations, Zach, by having the most wrong answers. You have won the show, wrong answers only.
Oh my God.
Naomi, you have lost by being too correct and too talented as an actor. And Chrissy, you are right in the middle. You got to push it one way or the other,
I love mediocrity.
That's right. That's what she loves. Laurel, before we go, what do you hope that everyone out there, everyone watching the crowd, what do you hope that they will take away from tonight's show?
I hope they take away just how cool animals are and how interesting every aspect of them is. So being able to watch them every day, I learn so much. I love my job because it is something new every single day. And so being able to go into a place like a zoo, watch an animal, and you can learn so much just by watching something. And then if you want to dive deeper, you can learn a lot more by playing with their poop.
I love it. And, I normally we are done with audience questions, but there's this one audience question that I do feel like we kind of can't leave without asking, which is, I'm going to just read it verbatim. Sorry if this is rude to ask, but have you ever analyzed your own poop? If so, what data did you discover?
Absolutely not. Like,
okay. Good to know.
That's the line. Humans are the line. Chimps are as close as I'll get, and I don't even like monitoring theirs.
But okay, I want to piggyback as someone with a cat. Okay, have you ever tested your own cat's poop? And what did you find?
My dog is among the strangest behaved creatures that I know, and I have always wanted to test it, but it's not cheap to do all of these testing. So I'm very aware of the fact that I would be stealing from the zoo if I brought in my dog's poop. So
Honey, you touch poop for them. You should be able to get a free test. Just one free poop test.
Yeah.
Should be a perk.
Should
be a perk, but it's not.
Well, I know people at the zoo are watching, and let's just say we will sign a petition. We will put together a GoFundMe. Get Laurel one free poop. That's the head of the GoFundMe. Now, panelists, you heard what Laurel hopes that everyone takes away from tonight's show. My question for you is, what will you actually be taking away from tonight's show? So let's get started with you, Chrissy. Chrissy, what will you be taking away from tonight's show?
Yeah, well, two things really. I'm going to be taking away skulls in poop. Mm-hmm. And then also it's really going to sit with me that you described being around that cheetah's poop as raw dogging it. It's really been sitting with me.
Yep. I'm really glad that was addressed at some point. Thank you so much, Chrissy. That's a gift. Zach Oyama, what are you going to take away from tonight's show?
I'm going to I just Google goat and see what pops up and
yeah.
See if that enlightens me in any way. It's been a pleasure winning,
We're excited for you. It's a personal growth is a big goal of the National Academy of Sciences. And for you to know what a goat is moving on is really, that's going to take it to the next stage. And Naomi at Paragon, what are you going to take away from tonight's show?
I think that we need to all think about what we're contributing to the world. We need to be talking about how Laurel is a queen, because from the very beginning, something that stuck with me was that Laurel said, I just use blood and feces, as though that wasn't enough. You know what I'm saying? And I'm out here with Aunt Rachel. Was it Rachel's like, yeah, you the best niece. You the best zoologist. You're the best animal care specialist. I ruined your job title, I know.
I can hardly say it.
It's enough, okay? Blood and feces is more than enough.
I can think of no better sentence for us to end on. Thank you so much to all three of you for playing. That is it for tonight. In March, next month, we are going to be doing a live show in New York City. You can get free tickets for that right here on our website. And if you're not in New York City, have no fear. That show is also going to be live streamed anywhere that you are. You can watch it over the internet for free as well at the same time. Either way, you can find all the information about that online at labx.org/WAO. And that address will be on screen after this as well. In the meantime, though, thank you so much to tonight's expert, Laurel Fink, our panelists, Chrissy Shackelford, Naomi Ekperigin, and Zach Oyama. Thanks as well to everyone at the National Academy of Sciences and LabX and our back-end folks, Amechi, Jesse, Amir, Dempsey, Mario, and everyone on the tech team. I am your host, Chris Duffy, and this has been Wrong Answers Only. Find out more about this show and future episodes online at labx.org/WAO. Have a great night.